G'day everyone, this is Wayne Dixon here for cgcookie.com. What I'll be doing today is a video critique of one of our users' submissions for the character ball exercise, which is part of the Animation Bootcamp course. The user here is Battryu, that's his name, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, Battryu, B-A-T-T-R-Y-U. But he's done an excellent submission, and I thought I'd make this video critique public to everyone, so that way you get to see a sneak peek as to what's inside the actual course, and also if there's any aspiring animators out there, you'll be able to take the feedback that I give to Battryu and apply it to your own work. Okay, so let's have a look at this excellent submission by Battryu. We're going to play our animation there. So he comes from the screen left, he anticipates back before the jump onto this platform. He doesn't quite make it. He's going to try it again. Boing, 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 and he's made it, yes. And then he sticks his tongue out and he's off, whoop, off the bottom there. So good, so good. All right, so let's see what we can do to make this animation better. If you are Battryu, grab a pen and a paper to take some notes, and if you're anybody else, just grab a bag of popcorn and enjoy. All right, so firstly, what I love about your submission, Battryu, is that you've gone and you've made this exercise your own. You've got the seesaw animated here, you've got the platform at the end, and then later on here, you've even gone ahead and rigged a tongue, and you've got it flipping out of the character's mouth. I really love how you've just taken the exercise and you've made it your own. There are a lot of small things that we can do to improve on this. It's a lot of spacing issues. So once I point it out to you, you'll be able to hopefully be able to see all these problems, and you hopefully won't make them again in the future, and your animation will just go through the roof. So yeah, I really love what you've done with the character part of this character ball. So you've nailed that section of it, but let's see what we can do about getting the finer details just polished, that little extra bit. All right, so first of all, one thing that I notice on frame 1 and 2, if I scrub forward, this counter doesn't move. Now this is not your fault, this is a bug that I found in Blender after we released this course. It's actually to do with the way that the Blender updates this thing. So here is the text counter. This is not your scene, this is just a scene that I've added the text counter to. There's an easy way to keep it updated. If we just go over to the settings here, we change it to be dynamic, and we add this Python script in here. It's actually a single line of Python code. So just for your convenience, I've got it up here. I'll explain what it means. Hopefully I can get that all in the one view. So all you need to do is change it from animated, click that, and then put this code in here, which is up here. So basically it looks a little bit scary, but it's not scary at all. It means I want you to display 0 if the current Blender file, the current frame is less than 0, otherwise show me the current frame. So what that does is it make your counter work in the positive direction, but you won't get any negative frames. If you're at a negative value, it's just going to be 0, which is easier to look at. So just type that one in there, just pause the video, copy it down, paste it in there. All right, so that's going to fix the counter. It's only in the view it works, but when you hit the render button, it's just delayed by a frame, which makes it a little bit weird. So when I give you feedback saying frame 4, it's going to be actually frame 5. Okay, just bear that in mind. Okay, so let's scrub through here with some scribbles. So one thing that I noticed is you've got a little bit of a spacing issue. I'm just going to track the top of this ball over these frames here. So if I was to draw a timing chart, we can see here on frame 16, the top of our ball is here, then we're here, then we're here. So basically, it's going slow here and then fast. So what the impression that gives is that there's a little bit of a whiplash feeling on these little jumps here. You can probably see as I scrub through, whip, whip, whip. So just make sure that the spacing is kind of even there. We don't want it to be delayed. So just move this middle one, just move the middle one to be in the middle, if that makes sense. Put the middle one in the middle. Yeah, that way it's going to be nice and smooth. Another thing that I notice is there's a tendency in a few of these arcs to, I'm going to exaggerate this, but the arcs of the bounces are kind of a little bit like that. They're kind of in, and we want them to be like that. So we just watch the spacing here. So just to exaggerate that, you've kind of got a little bit of an arc like that. So just try and keep it as round as possible like that. Also, so yeah, the same thing's happening on each one of these bounces. It's great how you are stretching down here to make contact. That's exactly what we want to see. But again, just move that one a little bit over, so it's a little bit to the right. Here we've got a little bit of a hitting an invisible wall. So if I'm watching the that's one term that comes up a lot in animation, is hitting an invisible wall. So if I was to watch this, it's like there's an invisible wall here. So boing, it just kind of hits it and bounces off. So I'll just draw it up here. So it's kind of doing that. It's going in that way, just hitting and bouncing it off. So what we can kind of do is grab the top of this ball here and just give it a little bit of a spiral. So rather than it just going bang forward, just kind of maybe I'll do it to the side. So just a spiral kind of like that. So just come to a rest as a spiral. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, here, so at a frame roughly 46, which is probably going to be 47, we're moving this direction, which is kind of a big move. One thing that we can do is we can anticipate a lot more of the movement. So because we're going in this direction, just bring him around like that first. So bring him that direction and then swing him around. So actually it'll be that way. So kind of make a spiral with the top of this ball before he goes back. And then I can see here, let's look at this is one thing that I've noticed in many spots as well. When the ball is jumping here, it's going from the squash position and then it's getting airborne before he's before he's taking off. But what we want to do is we want to show the stretch position on the ground. So here, that's not on the ground, just undo that. So he's jumping off in this direction. This is the last frame before he jumps off. So show the frame before, show him squashed, and then still have him in contact with the ground before he jumps off. So show him in that stretch position. So this one should be stretched. Just excuse my exaggerated it there, but stretch him before he jumps. And then you've got a little bit of a weird, just have a look at the arc there. That's another occasion where the arc is kind of going a little bit like that when it should be going like that. So have a look. See that? Goes like that. All right. Now here, for frame 60-ish, you've got a nice pose here, and then we're going up to this one here at about 71, 72. Actually, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, so I've got my two, so I can see the onion skin beforehand. So basically, we're just moving in a straight line there from like the top of the ball up to there. But think about putting in a breakdown. So a breakdown is kind of a pose in the middle. So rather than just going straight up there, kind of think about it going down. So you would have like a squash position. It's not quite as squashed as what it was, but just don't travel. That's really bad. I'm going to undo that. Undo, undo, undo. So, so squash him around like that. So you've got one pose here, and then squash him before he comes up. So that way, rather than going in a straight line, he's kind of traveling in an arc. So down in an arc. Hopefully you can make sense of that scribble. It's pretty bad scribbles there. All right, just get my drawing out of the way so I can see. Okay, so here, just watch the, I like how you're shaking him back and forth, but this takeoff is a little bit off kilter. If I watch this part here, when we, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw the middle of the ball here on each of the frames. So yeah, just make sure that's nice. It doesn't do doesn't do that. We want to make it nice and arc, so get rid of that part, so bring it around like that. And also when he's jumping, we want to keep the line of action, we want to keep him stretched in the same direction that he's going to jump, so in the line of the action. So here he's stretched this way, which tells me as the viewer that he's going to jump straight up, but he doesn't. He jumps in this direction. So we want to keep him stretched in that direction. All right, makes sense? So just kind of tilt the top so he's moving in that direction. And then make sure that the distance between this frame and this frame, so here is our spacing, this one has to be big. So you might want to just get rid of that frame, so frame 121. You might want to just remove it so that our spacing goes big. So I'll just draw it here again. I need to find the spare bit of space. So imagine this is our arc and our spacing. So we've got tight spacing up top, and then the spacing gets bigger and bigger as we go down. So the biggest spacing gap should always be the one where he takes off, which is this one here, and the one where he lands, because you always want him to be slowing down as he's going up and then speeding up as he's coming down. So if this one is actually like here, so if I've moved this one to here, and then there's a little one here, he actually slows down before he hits the ground, so because this one is the biggest. All right, so you're going to make sure that you do that on both sides. So this one here is the frame where he takes off. So this spacing should be the biggest, right? So don't put the spacing here because he's going to go slow, fast on the next frame. Hopefully you can make sense of that, Scribbles. It makes perfect sense in my mind. Always, and when you got the landing here, don't squash him before he hits the ground. So you want to stretch him, you want to show the stretch before he hits the ground. So here is the ground, where he's coming from. So that should be our contact frame. So this is what I've noticed in a lot of the bounces, where you've got him squashed on the landing, but show the stretch first. All right, I really like that bounce. Well, you got a little bit of an arc issue here. So what I feel is from frame 133, that change of direction is all too sudden. So what you might need is an extra frame on the platform before he starts to fall, because it's like he hits it and then he starts sliding off straight away. So just slow the spacing down. So add a frame or two between 133 and 134, just so he's got more, just so he doesn't speed up so fast. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Also, just keep him stuck to the platform the whole way down. So these frames here, just make him contact the platform or the seesaw. And again, stretch him in this direction. Well, I've overdone it a little bit, but stretch him in maybe that direction as he comes off. I really like how you've pushed this platform down as he pushes off. Really, really great. Again, show the stretch on the landing and the takeoff. Oh, yeah. Oh, and this one here. Okay, so starting at 154. Let's have a look at this arc. So you're kind of going like this. So you've got bang, 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 straight down. So make sure that we always keep a nice arc there. So that's around 154 to 159. Let's have a look at that. And then this one here, bang, it just comes to a stop all of a sudden. So yeah, just keep a little bit more movement on there. So maybe grab the top of the ball and just do a little bit of a spiral. It's a really bad spiral, but hopefully you know what I mean. All right, here we're jumping without any anticipation at all. So before he jumps up, he's got to squash down. All right, so squash him down on at least two frames, but maybe up to 4 frames before the squash here. So before the jump, and also show that stretch. So you should go from squash to stretch, and then pick him up off the ground. All right, and we've got a case of that slowing down before it hits the ground. So I'll just draw it again, where this frame is smaller than this frame. So he's slowing down before he hits the ground. Okay. Yeah, put this one, 203, show the stretch in contact with the ground. So nice stretch. But I'm looking at the size of this anticipation. So he's got a really nice big squash here. But then if you look at the height that he's jumping, he's only jumping to this high. So he's got a really big squash, and then it's kind of, the energy doesn't match. So what you've learned in the previous videos is, if it's a big anticipation, it has to be a big move. So this is a big anticipation with a little move. So what you can do is just lower the amount of this squash so that it matches. And also watch that arc, because you've got that going on again. Make sure he's in contact. 209. Push this one onto the ground. So 211. Show him on the ground. Bounce. Okay, so now I'm unsure. Some of the feedback that I'm going to give you is some stuff to try. So what I want you to do is do all the other stuff that I'm certain on first, and then come back and do and mess around with the other things. So this is one of those notes where I'm not sure if you want to show the squash landing here, like you have. I'm unsure how many frames will look best on the platform. Usually in a cartoony jump, we have 3 frames of contact. We have the frame where he's coming in, then we have the next frame where he's squashed, then we have the stretch frame where he's going out. But because he's on the platform here, I don't know whether you want to show 1 frame, 2 frames, or 3 frames. So I would experiment a little with keeping him stuck to the platform, but keep the platform going down a little bit. So my intuition is telling me you want at least 2 frames of contact on that platform. And then just make sure, yeah, if we're looking at these arcs, you've got that going on. Just watch the arcs. Boing. The character is great. It's just the technical precision of this arc. We want them like that. Actually, that one's a bit rounded. You know what I mean? Parabola. All right, so then we're bouncing up here at the end. This takeoff, you can probably keep him where he is, but really stretch him out more. So this one, you can exaggerate more. So go bigger with this one, and then make sure he doesn't change direction in his arc. So watch your arc, as well as, if I play this, actually if I scrub this, if he feels a little bit rubbery. I'll just turn off my onion skinny. He just feels a little bit too rubbery, and that's, I think, because he comes back to his normal shape too quickly. So the beauty when we do these stretches is it kind of acts like a blur frame, like a smear. So what we want to do is keep him, how many frames of stretch have you got? So you've got 2 frames of stretch there. You probably need about either 4 or 5 maybe. So have him come back to his normal shape at around this height, so around 258. So keep him, yeah, he just comes back to his round shape a little bit too quickly, and it gives this weird impression where he goes, whoop. I'm really bad at explaining that part, but it's kind of like he's fast, slow, fast again. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Hopefully you can make sense of this gibberish. This one here, again, show the stretch. So stretch him on that landing before the squash, and then definitely show the stretch take off there. Boing, boing, boing. Oh, and this last one here, I'm just scrubbing through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Just watch that he doesn't pop back down between frame 281 and 282. So he's kind of got a spacing here, and then spacing here. Bang! So he just shoots back down to the ground. So even that out a little bit, and then And then this one here, I like how it's only one frame contact, because as you've probably learnt, the slower that he's moving, you can't do the 3 frames of contact, but you definitely can when he's moving fast and big. This one here, just make 283 really, really subtle, so half that distance, so you can barely perceive it. That way it won't look so jittery when you play it at speed. Let me try and play this at speed. Yeah, just that last one there, just it feels too jittery. Alright, here to around 281. You kind of done it here. So see how we go down in this direction, and then we kind of come back up. So I just draw it up here. You've kind of gone like that. Round that out. So we go like that. Hopefully that makes sense. So think rounded arc, and just watch the spacing here, because he's a little bit, you need to tidy that up. I really like that settle, how he comes to a little bit of a skid. That's really nice. Great anticipation. So you've gone down here and then up. So from this one here, this large anticipation, 341-ish, down to this squash here, this is another opportunity where I think you can put in a breakdown. So rather than have this breakdown right in the middle, just move it over here a little bit, so that you've got an arc into this position. It'll just give a little bit more interest, and it'll accentuate the tongue coming out. The tongue is okay. I think it's a little bit stiff on just this section here. So I'd like to see more angle on that. So rather than have the middle bit like that and then the tongue goes blah, 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 get a little bit more the whole thing moving, if that makes sense. I really love how you've gone ahead and rigged it. That's just great. And then when we come back, I want to see 2 things. See how the mouth is at this blue stripe? And when we go up here, the mouth is below. So try and just keep it up here, in line with the blue stripe, you know what I mean. And then when you kind of are, I really like this. Here is our furthest point out. So we want the tongue to anticipate. So before it goes inwards, we want it to come out. So you can really just get it further out. So go, out, in, if that makes sense. So you're kind of moving him further back from the, away. You can probably move his whole body forward as well. So with that anticipation, so forward, in. That makes sense? Yeah. Hopefully that's good. And yeah, similar things here. All right, now with the platform, there's 2 things that you can try. One thing that I think might work better is if you, around 406-ish, you keep him stuck to the platform. So think about him pushing the platform down, and then the platform coming to life and pushing him back off, so he gets pushed up. So rather than it starting, so keep these frames, boing. Again, watch the arc. You're kind of doing a little bit of that. So yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see the platform push him up. All right, and then I think the spacing. I'll look at the ball first. Yeah, so if this platform pushes him up, go a little bit higher with that arc, and then you can give a little bit more of a cartoony feel, where you have extra frames up here that acts as an anticipation to have him shoot off. So make sure that this arc, it's a little bit, try and keep it very smooth. It kind of goes a little bit like, so it kind of hits this point and then goes straight down. So keep it arc-like, parabola. But what I want to see is, I want to see him really take off. So higher, more frames around here, and then you can really speed him up. So just ignore my scribbles. So really speed him up. So when he's coming off the frame here, you have to cheat it a little bit. So you can probably get rid of this frame here and just show this one here and really stretch him out. But because you'll have more frames up here, it acts as an anticipation. So you get him airborne more frames, really rocket him off, but stretch him out. And you do want to show, you do need to show him exiting the frame. Otherwise, if the last frame is here and then he's gone, it's going to look weird. So you have to show him exiting the frame like you have. But I would probably get rid of that one, 419, get rid of it, so that he just rockets off really fast. Then with the spacing of the platform, it's just a little bit jittery. So not jittery, sharp. If I was to draw, I'm going to draw like the curves. So it's going to look something like that in your curve editor. All right. Where we've got nice rounded change of directions here. At the moment, it probably looks a little bit too jagged. So where he changes direction, I'll just show you up here. So up here, so if we look at the spacing, pop, every change of direction, just have more frames closer to that position, and then you can move in really fast. And that's the same on the entrance there. When he comes back, just more frames around those change of direction. All right, there we go. All right, 25 minutes. So that's a little bit longer than I wanted to do, but that's an excellent submission. So keep up the hard work, and yes, hopefully you've taken all those notes down. Try and do the ones that I'm sure about first, and then come back and experiment a few with, you know, how you're going to get him to stick to the platform here. And I just spat on my Wacom. Whoops. So yeah, experiment with how you're going to get him to stick on the platform, and then up here, are you going to show him getting pushed, or is it just going to be, yeah, experiment with this bit up here. But there we go. Hopefully that's helpful, and I look forward to seeing your revised submission. And we're back. Did you miss me? Of course you didn't. It's like a second. But in the time that we have been gone, Battery has gone through and he's made some adjustments to this animation. So let's have a look at how it's looking now. Oh yeah, that entry looks much smoother. I like that anticipation. The seesaw, very good. All right, I've got some notes for that bit. Much smoother on the seesaw there. Excellent movement in the tongue. And that platform, he's gone. All right, so I'm going to have a closer look at this. I won't give you as detailed notes as I did the last time. We'll just do a few quick little notes to see where you can improve on the changes that you've made. All right, so let's have a closer look at this animation. I'll scrub through and do some scribbles over it for you. So I love the entrance. It's looking a lot smoother. You've still got a little bit of that whiplash, but I think it adds to the character that you've got now. So don't change it. It's looking great. Yeah, here I've just got some thoughts on this section here. So it looks like around, I did notice that you have your counter working properly, so that's really good. So I know when I say frame 120, it's going to be exactly 120. Just with this takeoff, there's still a little bit of an issue, and I think if you have a look, it's two things. It's the direction that we're going. So we're kind of going a little bit like that. So I would just angle this a little bit, maybe kind of like there. So just bring it a little bit back, because he's still not quite stretching in the line of action. And I would also try and add an extra frame of slow out, because he's popping from here to here, which suggests that he's moving really fast. And then the next frame, he's going really slow. So there's a couple of things that you can do. You can either make him go faster in this arc, so make him go higher. Make him go higher and faster to match that stretch that he's got. Or you can slow this down a little bit. So add a frame between 119 and 120, where here is a squash. So just slow out of that squash into the stretch more, and that's going to reduce the amount that this that speed that it pops, and it might match a little bit better. So that's the arc there that I would change. The platform's looking great. This section here, the thing that's looking a little bit weird is the top of the ball. So it's the way that it's stretching. So we're kind of getting here, and I know you're trying to make him do a little bit of like a type thing. It's really hard to do when you're a bouncing ball, but that's the impression that I get. So what I think you can try is not just try and stretch the top more rather than the bottom. So make it a little bit go upwards, and slow out of those change of directions with the top controller here. So remember our spacing, the change of directions, you need to slow out more, especially here. So bang, bang, and then see from frame 172 to 173, look at that pop, pop, pop. So slow out more. I'm unsure whether to show the stretch on this landing. I think because you are doing that type movement, I would try it without, and then I would try it with, if that makes sense, and see which one looks better. I think you're going to lose the character if you add that stretch, but I do think you need to show the stretch take off. So make sure that this stretch, when he jumps up and does that, stretch him. So if you don't show the stretch landing, you must show the stretch take off, because otherwise, how did he push himself off? Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So there, a little bit of playing around with that section I don't have the exact answer for you, but I have to do it myself to figure it out what looks best. This looks great. Boing, 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 boing. So smooth, really good. You fix those arcs, and it feels really nice and connected. And I love this takeoff now. Wing. Let's watch it again. Wing. Wing. It looks really good. Really, really smooth. Yeah, really nice changes there. Let's have a look at this tongue. I love how you've added a little bit of extra movement to the bottom here. That's just given it a little bit of extra something, something. And also you've kept it in line with the blue stripe. So that's good. Now the platform push off, I think you've done the right thing. Like it looks good. Just a few spacing tweaks I think could happen around here. So I like the way that he jumps, he gets airborne, and then the so I think there's two things I would do. I would just make sure so the spacing on this platform is great, so don't change the spacing on the platform. It's all got to do with the ball. So you just might need to add an extra couple of keyframes, maybe one keyframe where he's not so, so he's not so squashed here. It's just it's this frame here, 413. Something feels weird about going from this position at 412 to that position, but I do like the stretch. One thing about the spacing after the stretch though is, have a look around here, he's got a little bit of a slight speed up. Now if that is because the bottom of the ball is catching up, I think you need to do two things. I think you can go a little bit higher with this, smooth into it more. So yeah, that was weird interpretive dance, but smooth into it more with the bottom, and then make it more pronounced. So when he gets that energy from the bottom, bring the height of the arc up a little bit more. So a little bit flat around here. So just bring it a little bit higher. That is a really badly drawn arc. Kind of looks like a rah, rah. I'm so angry. All right, and then with this exit, we just need to cheat the spacing a little bit. The platform's looking great. It's just this, let me draw just off to the side here. This last frame, I'm going to cheat it down a little bit more. So the ball's going to be like that, like actually probably even more than that. So there's the top of the arc, right? And then we need to make sure that the spacing from here to here is the biggest. So this one, move it up a little bit, because if you have a look at the spacing, top of the ball from 430 to 431, let's have a look at that. Bang. So it's moving one ball length from here to here, but from frame 29, 429, it's moving, what is that, about 1.5. So it's actually slowing down. So shift this last frame, 431, down, this one up a little bit, and then this one probably up a little bit. So just cheat that spacing on that exit to make sure that it's always getting bigger. And you might also want to add an extra, so if I'm just going to draw it to the side. Here is the top of the arc. You could add an extra frame either side of that peak, just so that he really slows out more, and then you can get more exaggerated as he gets stretched off the screen there. So add an extra one either side. Try, that's meant to be an arrow. Try if if you can use that extra frame to accentuate the speed takeoff. All right, but it's looking great. Dude, you've done an excellent job. If I was you, I would be proud of myself. I am not you, and I am proud of you. So keep up the good work. And for everyone else watching, I hope you guys have learnt something, and we'll see you over at cgcookie.com.